the California wildfires. Again, one of the biggest things that has happened. We've seen the Palisades fire that tore through parts of northern LA, and we are talking firefighters who have been in Southern California working for several wildfires over the past few weeks now. They've made a lot of progress putting out the Eaton fire and the Palisades fires, which have destroyed entire neighborhoods in Los Angeles. As of this morning, the Palisades fire is now 95% contained, while the Eaton fire is 99% contained. So very good news on both of those. Both fires sparked on January the 7th, and since then, they've scorched a combined 37,000 acres. Yes, 37,000. Burned more than 16,000 structures to the ground, including people's homes. And unfortunately, 28 people have died from the wildfires there. So a lot going on when it comes to the wildfires. Now, this week, people who live in the Pacific Palisades neighborhood were finally allowed to head back to their homes for the first time since evacuating. That neighborhood saw some of the worst damage from the wildfires, and not much is left. KABC's Ashley Mackey spoke with residents who were unsure what they were returned to.
Hi, the left 2 lanes, ma'am.
Hundreds of Pacific Palisades residents line up along PCH and wait to be checked in for re-entry to their home. For many, this is the first time they're seeing their home since they had to evacuate due to the deadly and destructive Palisades fire.
Yeah, it's a lot to lose everything that you've collected, I think, over the last, your adult life and even your childhood. And so I wanted to go back. A lot of people told me there's no point going back. I don't think you're going to find anything. But I think just for my own personal reasons, to be able to just feel what it feels like and just be there and to see it in person is really important to me.
After waiting to check in here in Lot 3, which some say have taken at least an hour, residents must have their ID and address verified by police.
Chicken, fish.
And then they're directed to various services like Red Cross or LA City if needed. Some we've spoken with today are unhappy with the process and how long it's taken to get up to their homes.
You tell me the common sense of having us come all the way down here to show you an ID, to go all the way back to go in the Palisades. I've said enough. It sucks.
And although many residents know they'll be returning to nothing but ash and rubble, to be back home is enough.
Maybe one photo, maybe something to take away. Probably not, but better go and see it, right? So there rains came, so if there was anything, I suspect it's probably washed down anyway.
Meanwhile, one couple in California who lost everything in the Eaton fire in Altadena, they're finding a new reason to give thanks. ABC's Danny New shows us the glimmer of hope they found in the midst of the rubble.
This is probably not the engagement photo Brian McShay envisioned when he first bought the ring. But that was before he thought it was gone for good.
I was like, we're going to look over here where my desk is.
But you didn't tell her why.
I did not tell her why.
Brian and his now fiancée, Stephanie Raynor, tell ABC's Rob McMillan that they had been in their Altadena home for less than a year before the Los Angeles wildfires. This is what it looked like before they were told to evacuate on January 7th. And you can see what Brian and Stephanie found when they could finally return.
As soon as we walked up, it really hit us.
Nope, yeah, it's gone.
Besides their pets, they say they lost everything, but Brian was hoping that somehow the engagement ring he had just bought survived, even just some of it.
I was thinking about it. I was thinking, well, maybe the stone should survive and maybe we'll find a little stone. I thought the ring was going to completely disintegrate.
As you heard earlier, the ring was hidden in a now charred desk drawer, so they started digging around the area of its frame. However, like any engagement, Brian still wanted to maintain the surprise if he could.
I don't know what you thought we were looking for, because it was pretty obvious that a lot of my stuff was gone.
You have a lot of little gear. I
have a lot of little things, yeah.
Well, Brian says he didn't have a lot of hope, and to make matters worse, there were even a few false alarms.
I mean, you just brush away some rubble, and there's a little ring, and you pick that up, and it's actually a washer to something, and that happens like 4 times.
But finally, and who knows how, Brian miraculously found the ring still intact. And since, hey, he was already down there.
I was on my knees, and I was like, hey, will you marry me? And I'm in complete PPE, zipped up with the white hood and everything.
I'm crying.
Spoiler alert, she said yes. And now, even though Brian and Stephanie lost their home, it sounds like Altadena is still where they want to spend their life together.
We're really hoping that Los Angeles can support Altadena in its rebuild efforts for the next couple of years and that we're able to return, because this community is just so special.
Now, there is a GoFundMe set up for them that has raised $40,000 so far. And who created it? Well, the website says it was by two of Brian's bandmates, because apparently he is in an emo pop band called Good Terms. So shout out to his very good fellow bandmates. Maybe they can play the wedding. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Daniel New.
Now, with the flames mostly under control, there are new questions as to what may have caused the Eaton fire. Reporter Rob Hayes takes us inside court proceedings in Altadena yesterday.
The flames of the Eaton fire may be close to being extinguished, but the legal battle is just starting to take off. And with videos like this popping up as potential evidence, attorneys are focusing their lawsuits on SoCal Edison as the cause of the fire, arguing in court today that the power company is trying to hide evidence.
SCE had plans to unilaterally potentially destroy evidence in this case. But the court's order puts a stop to that.
In Glendale this morning, attorneys from the Edelson law firm held a news conference on the courthouse step just minutes after an emergency proceeding to preserve evidence. The firm represents a resident affected by the Eaton fire and is pointing to newly discovered transmission fault data and this surveillance video from an Altadena Arco gas station. Video, the firm says, proves that Edison's high-tension power lines ignited the deadly fire.
We see what is unequivocally arcing at the very origin of this fire. We know that their equipment was involved in this, and now it's just a matter of determining why did this happen.
SoCal Edison, though, has maintained that it has found no evidence that its equipment was related to the start of the fire, and that it is examining the surveillance video along with fire investigators.
That video requires careful analysis, and it's premature for anyone to be speculating on what the video footage means before it goes to investigators.
And now we have a little bit of relief from the fires after what has been an historically dry season for Southern California. A low pressure system churning off of the West Coast finally brought some rain to parts of Southern California. This was yesterday morning around 5 to 7 a.m. Our time. So overnight in California and even down into Arizona. Notice how much rain came through parts of Los Angeles, even mixing into snow at times, transitioning out over into Phoenix and northern Arizona to bring some relief. But it's really hard when you add a lot of rain on top of dry conditions. So this morning, the wildfires are no longer the only threat to Southern California. While the flames are now under control, the region that just received rain could see some mudslides. Parts of the region are already seeing some. Here's a closer look at one near Topanga, near the Palisades. And this mudslide completely shut down roads over the weekend. California residents have been preparing for any potential mudslides by filling up sandbags, while crews are securing hillsides with extra railings. And this system that brought the snow and rain to the West Coast is now on the move. Let's talk more about what we're seeing in terms of snow here in the northern U.S. The southern U.S., we got our snow last week. Places like New Orleans picked up 8 inches of snow in a very historic snowstorm. Here in Hampton Roads, we picked up about half an inch to about 5 inches. But now we are tracking a few showers, snow showers going through parts of the northern U.S. as a huge system, and the low pressure system in Canada is bringing that there. We even had a warning for snow squall earlier in parts of the Northeast. So right now we're talking snow anywhere from Pittsburgh through Williamsport in Pennsylvania, up and through the upstate New York area. A few snow showers not out of the question for New York this morning into the early afternoon. We're also seeing a few snow showers and snowflakes flying through parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, all the way up into Maine and into southern Canada. Now here's a look at the storm reports over the past 12 hours. The first one, again, that snow squall, heavy snow and gusty winds. A report of 3 inches of snowfall at this site in northern New York, where they also saw wind gusts up to about 29 to 30 miles per hour. In a city just off of the U.S.-Canada border, a snow accumulation of up to 7 inches there over the past 12 hours. And then back down in the parts of Buffalo, New York, they saw wind gusts as high as 63 miles per hour. So very gusty, breezy conditions going on in parts of New York. Now bring it back down to Virginia. Places in Western Virginia and North Carolina are still dealing with impacts from Helene back in September. So much so that Vice President J.D. Vance spent Monday in southwestern Virginia getting a closer look at Hurricane Helene recovery efforts with Governor Glenn Youngkin. It's his second trip to Damascus in the past months and his first since taking office. The storm made landfall in Florida back in September and went on to slam Virginia and North Carolina. Now, both states sustained major damage from the storm. More than 200 people died as a result across 6 states here in the U.S. Now, we're going to transition over to local weather here in parts of the Mid-Atlantic. Again, 13 News Now is based out of Norfolk, Virginia. So we're talking about Hampton Roads in northeastern North Carolina. Now, it's been a beautiful day. Our sky view shows you how pleasant it has been. A lot of sunshine for us after we had a day yesterday where we started off with a lot of cloud cover, and now we're transitioning over to so much sunshine. But it has been a very cold month for us. Here across January, we've only had 5 days of near or above normal temperatures. January 1st, January 13th, January 18th, the 26th, and the 27th. So now we're on a streak of above normal temperatures after last week between late on the 20th into the 21st, 22nd, and into the afternoon on the 23rd. We went 70 hours below freezing. So very cold. So I think a lot of us are excited for the fact that we will be seeing temperatures finally near or above normal. This morning even, we were above our normal low temperatures. We should be somewhere in those lower 30s, right around freezing for morning lows. This morning, we started off in the middle 30s inland with middle 40s around the coast. So a more mild morning for us, still a little chill in the air, but not terrible. Current temperatures around the area right now are in the lower to middle 40s, 44 now in Smithfield, 44 to match that in Manio, 46 in Norfolk, and 44 now in Ahoskie. So overall, still comfortable, but when you head out the door, you definitely will need the jacket area wide. We will see winds starting to really pick up. Right now, sustained winds out of the west, up to about 10 to 15 miles per hour. When you have a west wind, that's a very dry wind. So expect a lot of dry conditions and sunshine for today. But it will be a breezy and sunny day. Wind gusts as high as about 30 miles per hour here across the south side, mainly in Virginia Beach, where we're seeing wind gusts up to 28. Out in Suffolk, 22 miles per hour. Same with northeastern North Carolina. We are seeing wind gusts as high as 24 to 25 miles per hour. So breezy today, and that will continue into tomorrow as well. Even though there's snow to our north, no snow here, no rain here in Hampton Roads or northeastern North Carolina. A few clouds rolling through now, so it will be partly cloudy for just a bit before we clear out by the early afternoon. Future cast through the next few hours shows you temperatures will stay in those lower to middle 50s for the early afternoon, climbing to the lower to middle 50s, maybe by a couple more degrees by 3 p.m. The only place that may not make it into the 50s today will be the eastern shore in those middle 40s. Overall, this is a very comfortable day. I will take this any day over the 20-degree weather we had late or last week around this same time. By 10:45, 11 p.m. tonight, we're talking temperatures dropping back down to the upper 30s to middle 40s. But again, wind gusts as high as 24 miles per hour today, mainly for now through the early afternoon. After that, winds really taper off where we won't see much of a gust later tonight. But that will pick up as we get into the day on Wednesday. So we will have small craft advisories in place for our ocean inland waters and bay waters tomorrow. Wind gusts as high as 35 miles per hour on Wednesday. Starting off a little bit warmer tomorrow too. Temperatures in those lower to middle 40s. That's because we have a south wind coming in. That's going to really start to pull in some warmer air. So tomorrow afternoon, we're talking high temperatures in the lower 60s. The last time we made it into the 60s was on New Year's Eve, and that's when we made it into those upper 60s, lower 70s. So we definitely have some warmer temperatures on the horizon. We dip back down into the upper 40s on Thursday before our next system comes through, brings some warmer air ahead of that, and that will bring us also some rain chances. This is Friday night, so this is going to be an overnight rain event for us. Not expecting any severe weather with this system, just some heavy rainfall. Temperatures around this time will still be in the 50s, even this late 50s and upper 40s. During the day on Friday, we'll make it back to the 60s. Notice the heaviest rainfall will probably be in the Virginia side of things, but we still have a couple more days to nail this down. These are the long-range models. Once we get into those mid-range models or places like models like the GFS, even short-range like the high-resolution, then we'll start to see the exact timing. But this is right around 9 to 10 p.m. on Friday night. But notice by Saturday morning around 10 a.m., we're done with the rain. So this is a very quick rain event for us, but still needed. We'll take any rain we can get, but behind that system will cool down significantly as well, where temperatures will fall into the 40s. So look at the roller coaster going up through now till tomorrow, down on Thursday, back up on Friday, and down again as we get into early next week. So temperatures today in those middle 50s. We are talking highs tomorrow in the lower 60s, middle to upper 40s at best on Thursday, but staying dry from now through Thursday. We will be breezy on Tuesday and Wednesday, back up into the middle of 60s on Friday afternoon. Rain comes through, our front comes through, washes everything out, and also cools us down. So by Sunday, we're back where we were on Thursday in the upper 40s, but it seems like we'll rebound fairly quickly early next week with highs in those lower 60s. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you want to know any more about weather or keep up with me, you can follow me on Facebook at Meteorologist Taylor Stephenson, Instagram and TikTok at TDSTARZ, TD Stars. And you can talk weather, we can talk anything, but we'll see you on those platforms. Now, thank you so much for joining us. Remember, you can always stay up to date by downloading that 13 News Now Plus app. You can find this app on your phone. Remember to download it using this QR code you see on your screen. You'll see the latest hourly forecast and get to watch live radar as we put it up there. You also can download the 13 News Now Plus app on your Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. It's also free. Make sure to download that so you can watch us when you want to, on your own time. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that you enjoyed the stream. Again, we're always on. You can watch any replay of newscasts. You can watch for free at these things: Fire TV, Apple TV, and Roku TV today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early at 8:30.